Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby returns to open session of Council at, what do we got, Mark? 10:02? Councillor Thompson is saying 10:06 a.m. Any questions about the motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, I don't think that there's any matters arising out of closed session, but Mark, if you just let the minutes be noted that there was only those matters that we went into closed session are the only ones discussed. Oh, yep. And further that, yeah, those matters coming out of that was that we had the teleconference with our solicitor in there regarding the pending court challenge in divisional court. Was had a good discussion with him on how we were going to approach that with East Durham Wind that have taken us to court on our interpretations of our own bylaws and how they've been interpreted for the last 20 years per se, and maybe even longer. So see how far we go with the Florida company interpreting West Grey, Ontario, Canada bylaws. Okay, anything? That's it for closed session, Mark. I don't think we have any public meetings this morning. Consent agenda. I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that items A1 to C1 inclusive contained in Part 1 consent agenda be adopted, and further that authorization be given for the action to be taken as may be necessary to give effect to the recommendations contained therein. Any questions on that? Deputy Mayor Bell. John?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's one item in there regarding the multi-municipal wind turbine working group. There's an attachment there that speaks to a matter regarding Mr. Warren Howard wanting to appear before council to give his interpretation of where the group is going in regards to a noise bylaw with regard to wind turbines. I would think it would be in the council's best interest to invite Mr. Howard to speak, to give them the update on that. They are soliciting our support. They have got a number of financial contributions from a number of different municipalities with regards to this. And I think if nothing else, we should extend the courtesy to invite him to explain to council here in West Grey as to what they're doing and where this is going from there. So there is a meeting this Thursday night. Would council entertain the idea of me extending the invitation for Mr. Howard to attend a future meeting to give that idea and to give them the information?
If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the consent motion? Any opposed? That is carried. And there was a number of resolutions there, so I'll ask that those be signed so that they can take effect. The other notice that we do have a couple of empty chairs, matter of fact 3. Councillor Cutting was here and she has left to go to the ERT tribunal with private citizen, and the municipality has got a presenter status at that, and Councillor Cutting is representing the municipality on the environmental review tribunal case that starts this morning at the Durham Arena. So we wish Councillor Cutting luck there. The other one is Councillor Rapke sends his regrets. He's had a a slight emergency at work come up this morning, so he's unavailable. And Councillor Mollison has got some medical issues, and we understand that went back to the hospital this morning. So I hope nothing serious there, and that we can look for a speedy recovery for Councillor Mollison. Okay. And, well, we're communications from Mayor and Council. Does any council members have any communications that they want to make us aware of? Councillor Eccles. John?
Well, it's too bad the Ken's not here. I met a member of the public this morning, and he just wanted to pass on his good wishes to the Town Works Department and the hard work they've done all winter in Durham, keeping the water running and keeping the streets open, and just the hard winter and the hard work the guys have done. So I just like to pass that on to Ken.
Very good. Any other council members have anything? One thing, I have a letter from the Office of the Warden. Warden's Forum this year is going to be on Thursday, April 24th. Something that Warden Pringle, during his term, I believe it was in 2006, started having an open meeting just between County Council and administration, with all the municipal council invited. This year the Warden's Forum is going to be at the Drumore Presbyterian Church in the meeting room in the basement. As I said, on April the 24th, begins at 4:30. There'll be a dinner served at 6, and hopefully wrapped up by 9 o'clock. Although there's a lot of good things happen in Drumore, the lights don't go out at 9 in that big town. And there are 2 speakers that are lined up. Dr. David Segal, Professor of Local Government from Brock University, and Phil Montour is a lands consultant from the Six Nations Grand River. So that'll be very interesting. I have the sheets here on which council members will be coming, just so that staff at the county, mostly Penny Colton, executive assistant to the warden, can get the numbers down. So if you are, I'm going to pass it out, and I can get that back to Penny to just let us know which members of council and staff are going to be there. Okay, and I had the good fortune on Saturday to attend a function and bring the best wishes from the municipality. The Ontario Horticulture Zone, oh boy, Zone 8, good, I think I got it right. Nobody here from the Horticulture Society can accuse me of being wrong on it, so I think it'll be somebody out there will if I do have it wrong. But it was Zone 8, which is Huron, Bruce, Gray. I don't think there was anybody from Perth. I think it's Huron, Bruce, and Gray. There were 18 horticultural societies, about 115 members had their annual meeting in Durham at the arena. A very good day of conversation inside. Of course, from a horticultural standpoint and a gardening standpoint, on Saturday with the snow and everything else, was a little blustery. The gardeners weren't too happy there, but they had a very good day, and it was good to introduce them. And the deputy mayor and myself and our spouses were able to go to the Ayton Optimists, had their murder mystery on Saturday night. And yes, the deputy mayor and the mayor were used extensively within the ad lib of the murder mystery. I'll just say we were used and abused on a few occasions, Mr. Deputy.
That would be a fair assessment. They made reference to a couple of movies that have some, shall we say, titles that, well, we couldn't tell who was who, but one was Dumb and Dumber, so I mean, I guess We'll carry on. If you can't laugh at yourselves, who can you laugh at? Live theater in West Grey is alive and well.
It was very, very good. So anyways, a lot of activities. The first craft fair, I think, of the year has come up. I think I got all those signed. At the Legion on Saturday as well, too, here in Durham. Full, very, very full house at the Legion as well, too. So very good. And I did, just on a more serious note, former member of the Durham Thundercats hockey team, just from a few years gone past, and a resident, former resident of West Grey, but just lived in Mount Forest. Was down to his funeral. An OPP officer, Andy Houston, died of complications with cancer. Was just 40 years old and left 3 young sons, 8, 6, and 4, I believe they are, in his past. So my concerns go out to the family. I had the opportunity not only not to work with Andy, but certainly coach him when I coached the Thundercats in 2000. Andy was an integral part of that team that won the championship, and so my sorrows go out to his family and children. So I was able to represent the municipality there at that funeral. Anything else on that note? Okay. We do have, if that's it for that, we do have a delegation this morning. Alicia Lantz and her very happy and personable personality is with us. Alicia, welcome here again this morning, and one of the premier events of the summer that nobody should miss. Alicia puts on, and I think she wants to give us a little bit of an update of where she is at with that. So I'm going to turn it over to you. You don't have the PowerPoint this morning? We just got paper?
Yes, just paper today.
No apologies necessary, but always accepted. Thanks, Alicia. So Alicia, I believe, is going to give us on the 7th annual Colleen Lantz Memorial Run for Youth, which is held in Newstead on August the 9th this year. So Elise, there should be a red, there you are, you're live, the show is yours.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
So after embarking on this Run for Youth journey, here I am to present the 7th annual event. And over the past few years, there really has been so many amazing things that have happened, and there's been so many amazing people that we've got to know better through this experience. We've not only been able to unify our community, but we've been able to bring together people from around the world, whether it be through participation, volunteering, or just observation, but it's all been for a common purpose, and that's to promote physical fitness and well-being to people of all ages, while at the same time raising funds for local youth-oriented organizations. We've been able to not only financially support, but educate our followers about the organizations that we've supported in the past. In 2008, it was Big Brothers Big Sisters of Hanover and District. 2009, Keystone Child and Youth Family Services. In 2010, it was South Grey Bruce Youth Literacy Council. 2011 was Easter Seals. 2012 was the Saugeen Valley Conservation Children's Safety Village. 2013 was the Canadian Mental Health Association. And this year is West for Youth Online is who we're going to be supporting. So I prepared a memo for you just to outline some of the details of the event, but the first page just outlines the activities and stuff that are going to be happening with the event. We're going to kick off with a huge pasta party in the arena, and then we're also going to have our race registration and package pickup open and available for our race participants. Saturday will be the kickoff with our fireman's breakfast. We'll have an opening ceremonies. New this year, we're changing some of the times of our races, which will be reflected in the road closures that I'll be talking about in a few minutes. But we're moving the 10K race to 8:30 The 5K run and the 5K walk will be at 8:40 and 8:45 respectively, and the 1K kids run will be moved to 10:15 after the other events have completed. So this race is professionally certified against international standards, and I do have it accredited as well as A+. So I have attached in your package there an outline of the race course. We do have traffic controls put together by our West Grey Police Service as well as the Newstead Fire Department. Doc helps us coordinate all of the volunteers for that. And we do have parking attendants available to help park our participants and guests of the event. So what I'm here today to ask for from council is to see if we could get a road closure from starting at 8:20 in the morning, and I'm saying till approximately 10 o'clock, but we do open the roads as soon as the race participants have safely gone through, and as well as the approval to hang signage at each entrance of the village, and to again borrow the road closure signs, the pylons, and the barricades from the Works Department as in the past. So that pretty much sums it up. If there's any questions, the other thing I have included in your race package is a race registration form and any official pledge forms. But if you're not interested in that, we do have volunteer experiences available if you'd like to become involved in the event.
Should I challenge any of the council members to try and compete with the mayor?
You've done pretty well in the past, so.
There are age groups, and I'm not sure I would be, yeah, you may not fall into mine, Mr. Thompson. Carol.
Thank you. Alicia, I just wanted to ask, you talk about hanging a sign at the entrance to the villages.
Yes.
Would that maybe be put on a post? Somebody for the fair hung a sign on the new signs down there and damaged them, so.
Yes, no, we would not do that. We have our own
Great, okay,
stakes.
thanks.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Alicia? I know you've done a tremendous job at it, Alicia, and it just astounds me. Okay, I think I've seen the pinnacle of it, of how well it's growing, and then, yeah, the next year you come and there's more people and more participants. So I do encourage. My problem is that, you know, I'm getting a little bit older and I have difficulty wearing all those gold medals that I've won.
You'll have lots to show your grandchildren.
I got to keep competing there. Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't think I can keep up to you either, Carrie. You do that jogging. I'll stick with the walking at my age. It is a very good. I believe, Ken, you have the delegated authority on the road closures, that aspect of it?
Yes, that's right. Alicia's always so well organized that we just simply load up the trailer with pylons and take it over to Newstead, and there hasn't been any problem with the road closures either. It's a well organized event and very successful event, so we're happy to be part of it.
Excellent. And I think the one thing that you do need is for the hanging of the signs. Mark, you have just wondered, we can, seeing as you're on duty here on the agenda, we probably could have a resolution made up here right now to go ahead and give that approval here right now. So we'll let Mark finish up on that. Is there any other questions of Alicia? You're still going to have the little wet down area, the spritz area there?
We sure do, yeah.
I don't need any, you know, really, I'm pretty well soaked by the time I come in. I've sweated very hard out on the course, but no respect here this morning. No, not whatsoever. Well, they won't, you know, no, I'm above that, the bar, you know, you got to be able to walk under the bar to do the 1 kilometer walk, and I'm above that, so And she hasn't expanded to anything beyond a 5K walk. We got a resolution coming here, Alicia.
Perfect. Thank you. Just as a side note, we did donate $10,000 to the Canadian Mental Health Association, so that picture will be posted very shortly. So that was from last year's event. So we're hoping to be able to match this the same going forward. So.
Look forward to that. Is there any benefit for you to forward some of those photographs, and we could have them on our
Sure.
website as well too?
Sure.
Work with Eunice on posting them and posting the time and whatnot. We could post that up on there's availabilities on our website as well too, Alicia.
Sure. Our website is definitely up and going right now, and we have our online registration open and available now as well too. So I can forward all that information.
That'd be excellent. Okay, I have a motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the request from Alicia Lawrence, President, Race Director, to hang signs at the entrances of the village of Newstead and borrow road closing signs, pylons, and barricades for the 7th annual Colleen Lawrence Memorial Run for Youth event, August 9th, 2014. Any questions or comments on this? Seeing none, I'll call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. And I've got to commend you on the, as well, Alicia, the West for Youth. There was a very successful kickoff of that. They've been very fortunate to get a wonderful donation from Aviva Insurance to get that going, and something for our youth in our communities. And as I said, they had a very good hockey game here put on by a couple of individuals in Durham that incorporated not only West, but the activities that are going on in Wellington County as well too, with in Arthur. So your choices are always excellent and for the betterment of the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Great. Well, thank you very much. I look forward to making this an event to remember.
Thanks, Alicia.
What color are the t-shirts this year? Excellent. Excellent. Neutral as far as politics are going, yes, in an election year. Okay, thank you very much, Alicia. The last meeting, there was a notice of motion that was tabled. Sorry about that, Adam. At the last meeting, there was a notice of motion on the aggregate resource, just as duty. Does it want to be lifted and discussed, or is there more information coming on that? Don?
Because there's 3 councillors missing today, I would kind of like to keep it tabled until there's more of a full slate here. I'd like, I made up a bit of a map here that I'd like the councillors to look at sometime that that shows the black area in this map shows the aggregate area that is in the official Grey County plan. That if there's a gravel pit application in that black area, sorry Carol, can't probably see it down there, but it's if there's an application in that black area, then Grey County does really not comment on the gravel pit application, it just passes through, or maybe it doesn't even pass through Grey County if it's in that area. I'm not sure about that. And all the pins on this map are existing gravel pits. So there's about 80 on there. And the blue cover is all the Saugeen Valley River catchment area. Tributaries. So I'm going to put on there also the the catchment area for the wells in Durham and Newstead. And another interesting read, you've probably already looked through the aggregate review that the province has done. It's a good read, but there's also what I found on the internet. Gray and Bruce counties did a groundwater study in 2003. I'm guessing it was a build-up. It was put in cooperation with the Minister of the Environment, and I'm guessing it was a build-up to the Source Water Protection Act. And it's 265 pages, this report. But there's what I've leafed through is a lot of good information in there about how we should be protecting our watershed. There's a map in there of a hydrologic cycle, how groundwater recycles, that the rain comes down on the ground and seeps into the ground, and that does not feed our rivers with runoff. That feeds our rivers as it seeps into the ground and then goes into the spring area and then comes up into the rivers through streams. And that also, and the water that does not get into that spring area goes down and regenerates our wells. So I might have been a little overzealous with the black area on here, but it looks like between a third and a half of West Gray is in that gravel aggregate area. And it's just the tip of the iceberg right now, but if we don't have some control, if the province doesn't put in some controls of how these gravel pit companies come in and take our aggregate out, then what is that going to do to our water quality in the future? Because if we take the aggregate out, and that is our filter system for our water, we'll never get it back. So basically, what I'm asking for in the resolution is that we have better control over how aggregate is mined out. And that's through the planning process. That's something that the province, if they're not controlled by the stakeholders, which they are, because they're making a profit over it, but they're not, if they want better planning for the future, that they should be listening to the municipalities.
Okay, thanks, Don. Just one clarification. The county does make comment. It doesn't require an official plan amendment anymore to put a pit in. It's left at the lower tier, but the county does make comment on all gravel pit applications, but it doesn't require the official plan amendment. So we look forward to a healthy discussion on that when it's lifted from the table. Okay. That brings us down then to staff reports. And the first report we have is Carrie's report. And Carrie, thank you very much for coming in this morning. Maybe you can tell Councillor Lawrence to come down. We don't bite down here. So the first one we have on Carrie's report is the accounts. And we've had the account, the ledger's all there. Is there any comments, concerns on those? No? Very good. Then I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 6, 2014 of the Municipality of West Gray in the amount of $638,636.87. Any comments or questions on the motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Come on, come on, come on. This next one coming up here, Carrie. Okay, the next one is the resolution to adopt a budget amount for the 2013 amortization. And I'll send that out. Any comments on that, Carrie?
It's similar to last, in 2012. I have put on there to use the same budget amount for 2014, since again, we have already passed our budget bylaws, so I've just got that added on there, and then when we're doing the 2015, it's not something that we raise to levy dollars for, but it's an in and out so far that of a budget item that's on there.
It's always something that comes up about those times that the auditors are around. And we have had the auditors here for the past couple of weeks. Okay. I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the 2013 and 14 budget amount of amortization of $2,643,505. And this covers all the amount that we're amortizing, and as Carrie has skillfully said, in and out, really. But finishes off the books for the year end. Any other questions or comments on the motion? Call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. And the last one, Carrie, here, if you have one from the Elmwood Fire Department or Joint Board of Management regarding the tender for the new fire truck. And our good friends, partners in this, Brockton, have approved their portion of it. Deputy Mayor Bell. John?
Yeah, just real quick, Carrie, I presume that just half of that 186 is West Gray's?
60%.
Closer to 60,
Yeah, okay.
59 point.
Yes,
Yeah.
60%, yeah, okay. Thank you. We don't owe the whole 186, that was my point. Yeah.
Don? Councilor Marshall?
So that's a fixed price, so if the dollar goes to 80 cents, then the price isn't going up?
Councilor Eccles is nodding his head. He's our representative on the board, so I'm going to, John, clarify.
When we put the tender out, typically we have 30 days to respond, but when we put the tender out, we put it to 60 days, and they were a little concerned about that, but they are going to stick to the 60 days, and we're well within that, so the 186,000 is the set price.
Very good. So that is just for our information that's there. Clarifying that. Any other comments on that? Okay. Anything else, Carrie?
Just a reminder to submit your timesheet if you haven't already done so, please.
Very good. Yeah. It's one of those things. No paper, no pay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Carrie. That brings us down, Mark. Your first one is on the noise bylaw that the Deputy Mayor spoke of a few minutes ago. So go ahead, Mark.
Yes, as noted in the report, there is an initiative to produce an Ontario-wide municipal coalition for a noise bylaw, noise nuisance bylaw. It's sort of arisen, of course, due to the advent of the industrial wind turbines. And Mr. Warren Howard, who's actually a councillor out of Municipality in North Perth, did present a PowerPoint to Huron-Kinloss, and I would suggest it might be appropriate if council is interested to have Mr. Howard attend and present the PowerPoint presentation and give an opportunity to council to ask some questions how the process would flesh out, so to speak.
Any comments? That's what you were looking for, John?
Well, I think in case anybody has any questions down the road or whatever, but yeah, I think the information needs to get to council so they can make an informed decision. And Warren is very good and has done a lot of research in this, into this, so I think we should hear the man.
Okay, Carol.
Well, I just want to support what John is saying. I think it's important that council hear that, and I don't think they've decided as to how the contributions would be, whether it's per turbine or, you know, contribute what you can. There's even some municipalities that have no turbines that are willingly going to contribute towards it. So we need to hear them and make a decision after that. It's certainly something that if it proceeds to a conclusion, it would be helpful for us too, so.
Okay, well, I think we can give that, Mark, you've got direction for that, to get a hold of Warren and ask him. He has made, I don't know whether he made a presentation at Good Roads, but he certainly, this year, I didn't know, but I was in one, yeah, it'd be a year, yeah, last summer, he made a presentation at AMO in Ottawa. So very well versed on the subject, and I guess we can call him, I don't know whether we will inflate his ego much if we call him a expert consultant on wind turbines at this point in time, but he's certainly taken a large interest in the topic. Okay, well, we'll get a hold of Warren and see if we can get him up here.
Mr. Mayor, he did make a presentation at Good Roads.
Was it Good Roads as well? Oh, good. Subject matter expert, I think is what they call those guys. All right. Anything else, Mark?
That's it for Mark.
That's all that you have? Okay. Any questions for Mark? Nothing at this time, then we might as well go on to bylaws. All right. So Mark, you want to start out the first bylaw 24 on today's package is dealing with, well, the first couple are dealing with voting aspects. So we'll hand those motions out to get them signed and back in. Need a couple more on those ones. It's 25, 28. You got 24 here. 27, 24. Okay, we can start with bylaw number 24, 2014 as a bylaw for advanced votes and voting day. So a motion moved by John Eccles and seconded by Don B. Marshall. Be it resolved that bylaw number 24, 2014, being a bylaw to provide for advance votes to be held prior to voting day, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Is there any questions or comments on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, after. This one should go on the bottom. The second bylaw this morning, bylaw number 25, is a bylaw dealing with reducing hours at institutions or retirement homes, specifically Rockwood Terrace. I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 25, 2014, being a bylaw to provide for reduced hours of voting on voting day in institutions and retirement homes, Rockwood Terrace, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this bylaw? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Bylaw number 26 is a bylaw to establish a site plan control for a property in former township of Bentig. I have a motion moved by Don B. Marshall and seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that bylaw number 26, 2014, being a bylaw to establish a site plan control area within the limits of the municipality of West Grey, Wilson, Hopkins, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this? Councillor Eccles. John.
It's interesting that we're signing this, and I noticed that there's been some work going on the lot out there that we're talking about. I just wonder what's been happening on the site, and if there's been activity there before we have a site plan agreement. I'm quite happy that we're having a site plan agreement and moving forward with it, but I was a little concerned to see that there has been some activity there.
I'm not aware of any activity on site. As you may recall, this was a zoning bylaw amendment that was passed, recommended for approval by the Planning Approval Committee and then passed by Council. And part of that zoning bylaw amendment required a site plan control agreement. So firstly, there's the site plan control area to designate it for site plan control, and then the site plan agreement, which is bylaw 29, I believe. I wasn't aware of any activity, to be honest. I don't know if it's just grading or not, that they may be able to do so without any kind of permit.
And I think what you're referring to, Councillor Eccles, is there was some fill from another project that was brought in, very somewhat similar and under similar circumstances to even what we've seen across the road here, and I don't think it was violating any rules or regulations. Councillor Lawrence. Carol?
Thank you. So this lies totally in the old Bentig. It's not the portion that lies in the town of Durham?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yep.
Yeah.
This piece of property that's out here, yeah, with
Oh, I
Wilson
thought it was
Hopkins.
this piece over here. Okay, I had the wrong piece. I thought it was this one over here.
No, the one out the at Pletch's
Oh,
service
okay.
station.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
All right. Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Thanks, Mark. Okay, we have bylaw number 27. It was a bylaw to appoint individuals to the West Grey Council Remuneration Committee. And I have a motion, it's moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by Don B. Marshall. Be it resolved that bylaw number 27, 2014, being a bylaw to appoint individuals to the West Grey Council Remuneration Committee be now read a third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this on third reading? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Look forward to the recommendations from that committee. And the next one is bylaw 28 is rescinding number 12. And on, oh, sorry, amending, yeah, didn't say rescinding, the appointments to the Employee Consultation Committee. So I have a motion moved by Carol Lawrence and seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 28, 2014, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 12, 2014, to rescind the appointment of the West Grey Employee Consultation Committee, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. So any questions or comments on this motion? Yep. Yeah. And what it really comes down to is they continue as a committee, but not as a committee of council. They didn't feel that that was correct for them to be in that, so under that aspect, they'll just work that way. Okay? All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. And bylaw number 29 is the site plan agreement between Mr. Wilson and Mr. Hopkins. I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by John Eccles. Be it resolved that bylaw number 29, 2014, being a bylaw to enter into a site plan agreement between the Municipality of West Grey and Robert Wilson and Chris Hopkins, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the CEO, deputy clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Are there any questions or comments on this bylaw? Rob, Councillor Thompson.
This Robert Wilson, I was under the impression it was Brad Wilson? Bradley Wilson, is it? That's correct, it is Robert?
Yeah, it's Rob.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, the oldest one's Robert,
Yeah.
okay.
You're in the right family.
Yeah.
You've got the right tree, just not, you're on the wrong branch.
Right. Good enough.
Yep. Okay. Clarification. Any other questions? Comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Do you want to take a leave and you two can argue more about the family tree there? I'm going to declare this carried. Now you two can carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we voted for it.
We can multitask.
Multitask.
We can multitask.
Easy. Don't give yourself. That's it for bylaws, Mark? Thank you. Oh, yes, I did. Yep. New business is what we're down to. Does anybody have any new business? I'd like to bring something up that I found out about on the weekend. And it's around source water protection. Wellington North, the municipality of Mount Forest, had 2,000 threats identified in Mount Forest. About a week ago, the committee was doing some work and asked how come there was so many. It wasn't recognized that natural gas, so every house in Mount Forest was thought to have an oil tank. So they're automatically thrown in as having a threat. When it was identified that there's natural gas in Mount Forest, about 90% of the threats, obviously don't need to be investigated. You've got natural gas, you don't have a tank, so poof, they were gone. I guess the question I'm asking, when we roll that forward, how many in the West Grey, what did we have, Mark? 700 and some, 800, or 750, something like that anyways. Let's round it off at 750. Are we in that same idea? Because the town of Durham obviously has natural gas. A lot of those houses that were identified in that, can they be stroked right off immediately? Well, they're on natural gas. You don't have to have that fuel tank. The interesting part of it comes is that, yes, Grey County, I think had something like 6,000 in that Saugeen, Grey Sauble. There was 6,000 threats. The Waterloo one has 98. 98, from what I've been told. Well, haven't got that exactly, but part of it is in this aspect of what happened in Mount Forest. Somebody in an office someplace, okay, there's the map, there's the, here's the 2-year, 5-year, 10-year catchment in those wells, and they just took, well, all those houses must be a threat, or all these properties are a threat. Nobody did any investigative work. That gave me hope that the process and the budgetary factors that came up, if you had an individual step on site and go, yeah, the oil tank isn't here, this isn't here, or do we just send out and ask? I guess what I'm asking, what do we do to identify how were those sites ever designated to get in there in the first place? What constituted a threat to the source? Waterloo is a different source protection area. Mount Forest, no, Mount Forest would be, they're in the Saugeen, they're in Saugeen.
Yeah, it splits there.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside of town it splits.
That's what I understand. They've agreed to say, fine, there's a lot of them out of there. Don?
We have 200 and some properties right in that need plans. Is that the figure? 200 and some properties that are?
No, 750. 43. Each one that was identified is supposed to have a plan. But my question is, why are they identified?
Yeah, but just because they're not on oil and they're on natural gas doesn't mean they don't have a 5-gallon pail of oil in their garage. So every property in that catchment area is going to have a plan.
Well, as I said, apparently in Mount Forest, they said, well, if you're not on, we had them in there because they had oil. An oil tank presumed that everybody would have an oil tank.
Yep.
So they had to identify that. Then they said, well, there's very little have oil because it's all on natural gas. Oh. Magically they disappeared before you had to go through that $2,000 or $3,000 minimum.
That'll take one of the threats away in the property, but it won't take away the plan.
Good possibility. I don't know. John?
That would be, going on Councillor Marshall's, I think I agree with him. It would reduce your risk, but it won't mitigate it because there's still the gas can for the lawnmower and the weed eater and whatnot, and it still would identify you as a risk. It would be a less risk, but still risk.
So I guess in that context, and I'll play devil's advocate, our public works guys, construction operator that's driving down the road past this well area, protection area, that has a 5-gallon jerry can in the back of a pickup truck or a construction vehicle, or a vehicle itself going down with a full gas tank down the road, do we need something in there on all of those as well too if we're going to extend it out that far?
We're just on the tip of the iceberg with this thing. When they get the 700 plans in place, then they'll be after you'll have to have a double line fuel tank on your car in case one tank is punctured.
Well, in 5 years' time, everything will be a small nuclear plant inside your car anyway, so you won't need to worry. It'll be a cold fusion. If you've got time on the internet, go and look it up. Learn, L-E-R-N, and see what it says in there. ECAT technology. That's where it's headed. Carol?
Well, how do we pursue that question you brought up? And through whom?
I think that it should go through, be made aware to our CDO and environmental
Right.
inspector, Mr. McKinnon and Mr. Marcel, and get that checked through source protection. What did we do to identify these threats? I mean, you know, there's still a half a dozen empty lots that are, you know, that I can think of east of Durham here. The residential lots, were they identified as a threat because they're a lot, whether there's any buildings on them or not? I haven't gone that far in to finding out what they did, but from my understanding, it was just done on a tabletop exercise. It wasn't done on anything as direct.
Right. There was no inspection.
Yeah, there was no inspection. John?
Well, they just took a hydrogeological map, laid it out, pointed where the well was in Durham and any catchment that would come into that well, and then they went along and there's a house, there's a barn, there's a driving shed. Those are potential threats, and that's all that's been identified. And now it's up to our risk manager or risk assessment manager to go out and say, yes, that's a farm, but he's got a containment area around his fuel tanks, and so it's no longer a threat, and then that gets written into his assessment, and this is just getting started. They've just identified the area and how many buildings are in that.
But if this took place in Mount Forest where those homes were deleted, I mean, I'm sure somebody didn't go out and inspect each of them. Sounds more like a light came on and, oh, they got natural gas. So
Well, did this
can we
come up
pursue
through?
that idea?
Did this come up through Wellington North's risk assessment officer that went, why am I looking at these houses that don't have fuel tanks?
Don't have fuel tanks with them.
So I'm hopeful, like the mayor, that this may not cost as much as what we'd feared when it came down in the first place.
I would like it to not cost us anything. Not as much, not cost us anything here. I'll do a little bit more investigation on it, and you know, it's more for information, and check with Brian and Les on this of what we're coming up with. Okay, Don?
If you're talking to somebody in that committee, you can ask them about their minutes, because their minutes says nothing. Their chair just says, we have a report, everybody's read the report, any questions on the report? Go to the next report.
Go to the next report.
It doesn't say what the report's about, or
Where you can find the report?
yeah, it doesn't say that either. I didn't go that far, but it
Yeah.
wasn't a very good read.
Well, it sounds like it's a very short read. Okay. All right. That was mine. Any other new business? So we'll look at figuring some of that out, whether there is a bit of a light at the end of this tunnel on source water protection, Mark. Addendums, notice of motion. I would like to introduce one notice of motion, or direct motion. Came into correspondence. It was in the correspondence there. I should have made mention of it. That got a letter from the ministry responsible for senior affairs, and June they are asking that that be seniors month. So I just wondered whether I could have that introduced as a direct motion to declare seniors month recognized here in West Grey from June 1st to June 30th. I'm glad Alicia's not here because her August run is it's in August, so that'll be outside that seniors month, so we'll still be able to participate, Mr. Thompson.
I think you'll be able, I
Curious
think
why
you'll
I was
be okay.
directed to you, Mr. Mayor.
You get a month to rest.
We'll find a definition of senior. Any other direct motion or notice of motions? I'll need a 2/3 majority to introduce this. All those in favor of introduction? That's carried unanimously. Which way do you want to go? Mark's got too many papers. We'll send it down this way, Carol. He's busy.
You'll let us see your side.
Not quite yet. 2 more to go.
Well, I don't know. You can go down to,
Oh, some places 60.
go to the drugstore, you can get it at 55 there, so. Another couple years, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's passed.
I have a motion moved by John A. Bell and seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby proclaims June 1st to June 30th, 2014 as Seniors Month. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, there's nothing on closed session. Mark, there'll be nothing the matter. At this time, we'll take a question period for anything, any point that was on the agenda. Got a couple of minutes. Does anybody in the audience have any questions?
It's about time you had that June going for seniors.
Well, very good, Charlie. Yes, I noticed you sitting out there, and that's why it was so intimate that we get it going there for you. Seeing as you're just newly there in the seniors part.
So I'm hoping that I get some discount wherever I go shopping on June.
I don't know about the shopping part, but you can talk to any one of these council members and you'll get free advice. Very good. Any other questions from anybody out there? Seeing none. Not as much of a question as information. Our assistant, Public Works admin assistant, has been working very, very diligently and hard on our clean sweep or clean up West Grey. If I'm not mistaken, it's April the 26th is the date that she has projected for that. She's getting a number of responses back in from individuals out there that have signed up and said that, yep, we'll clean this part of the road. So if you can, council members, promote that to anybody out there about clean sweep for West Grey, and go down and just give Joyce a pat on the back for taking the initiative to jumping onto that, and she's doing a very good job with it. Municipal Act notices, public notices, adjournment. Who wants to move that?
I'm down this end now.
I always have to look this way. Councillor Mollison isn't with us. Councillor Lawrence moves that we adjourn. Stand adjourned. Thank you very much.